Week 18 is all wrapped up and the regular season has come to an end. Now it's finally time for playoff football, and with much fewer games to go over, I'll be able to go more in-depth with my wildcard predictions. So let's just get right to it. We'll be starting off wildcard weekend on Saturday afternoon with the Chargers at the Texans. There's not a whole lot to say here. Nobody believes in the Texans, and why should they? The defense is merely good, not great, and CJ Stroud is having a textbook sophomore slump. Meanwhile, the Chargers' defense they're facing is very stout, and their offense that's been mediocre all season is finally coming alive recently. I think the Texans' disappointing season comes to an end in the first round of the playoffs with a 24-17 loss to the Chargers. Next, on Saturday night, we've got an AFC North clash with the Steelers at the Ravens. These two teams may have split the season series, but I think the second game they played is a lot more indicative of how good each team is than the first game was. Facing a lot of good teams to close out the year, the Steelers just got rolled week after week. Meanwhile, the Ravens seem to be getting hot at the right time, and their defense has bounced back after being a serious cause for concern at the beginning of the year. For a while I was on the Josh Allen MVP train, but I think there's a clear winner and it's Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow is a close second, but unlike last year, I think Lamar Jackson truly deserves this MVP. I think the Ravens win this one convincingly, 30-21. Next up on Sunday morning, we got the Broncos at the Bills. And the Broncos finally snapping their drought and making the playoffs for the first time since 2015 is a very nice story, but I think it's going to be short-lived. I like this Broncos team and I think they've got a lot of good pieces, but they're not ready to compete with the elite teams in the league. I do have some concerns about the Bills' defense, but Josh Allen is an MVP candidate for a reason. That offense is one of the best in the league, albeit with some good turnover luck. And I think the Bills are going to take this one at home, 28-20. Now for the Packers at the Eagles. And I've been a big believer in the Packers all season, but they've kind of made me look stupid in the last couple weeks. On top of that, injuries are definitely a concern. I've heard that Jordan Love should be good to go for the playoffs, but I haven't heard the same about Christian Watson. The Packers are still very good, but I get the feeling they're going to need to be at 100% to stand a chance against the Eagles, and it doesn't look like they will be. Meanwhile, this Eagles team is looking like one of the most well-rounded units in the league. They've got arguably the best defense in the league, not to mention an offense that's above average at worst. Hell, even their backup quarterback looks really good. I think Philly takes advantage of a slightly crippled Packers team and wins this one 30-23. Now we've got the Commanders at the Buccaneers, and of all the games being played this week, this is the most even matchup in my opinion. These two teams are eerily similar. They've both got top 5 offenses, and they've both got defenses that are mediocre at best. Despite the average record, I feel like the Buccaneers' offense is high-powered enough to hang with anybody on a good day. But I just feel like the Commanders are a lot more consistent, and Jaden Daniels is a menace in the clutch. Not to mention, I just don't trust Todd Bowles to make big decisions in a playoff game. With Baker Mayfield coming off of arguably the best quarterback season in Buccaneers franchise history, I expect the Bucs to put up a tough fight, but I think they're ultimately going to lose to Washington in a 37-34 shootout. And finally, we have the Vikings at the Rams, and it is absolutely criminal that this Vikings team has to play on the road against this shitty Rams squad in the playoffs. Hell, there's a good argument to be made that the Rams are the worst team in the playoffs, even worse than the Texans. Their offense can be explosive when they're playing the Patriots, and their defense can certainly be stifling when they're playing the Jets. But when it comes to competing against real teams, there's not much to write home about outside of a fluky Bills game and some good old-fashioned ref ball. The Vikings may be coming off their worst loss of the season, but that's understandable when you're losing to a team that's 15-2 and has the 1 seed. I think the Vikings are fine. Sam Darnold is more than a beneficiary of the system, he's genuinely making plays out there. And even though I could probably only name like 5 of their defenders, that defense is really, really good. I think the Vikings show the world who the Rams really are with a dominating 31-17 win. And there's all my picks. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe.